Hello and welcome to day 29 of Adventures in Tarot Casting, a series where I have been going through some of the creations we make, mainly focusing on the backdrops. So this backdrop today is the Hexagonal Lenormand inspired backdrop. It's still the daily casting. Anything that says daily tarot is because it has this layout in it, the one that has the circle. It's like my go-to 3-card spread, for lack of a better word. But I wanted to debut this here today to give you like a sneak peek of what's coming on July 1st. I created a new Lenormand deck out of little mandalas and put them into a hexagon shape. And here, I just show you this. And these are the backs. And basically, this whole board was inspired by that, as you can see, because it has the honeycomb pattern on it. Tomorrow's demonstration, I'm going to show you the actual focus of the hexagonal tableau and all that. But today, I want to incorporate it with tarot to be a transition into tomorrow's video. So I'm introducing them today, but tomorrow we're going to focus on them. So this board, like I said, was inspired because of these tiles. And I want to show you how I can use these in place of my normal Lenormand tiles in this spread. I know we've used this layout before in this series, but I feel like by showing you a few different times how it can be diverse, maybe you'll come to read with it in a different method, right? So today, instead of doing a round oracle card, I'm going to just pull from this deck. This deck is the deck of 120 questions by Over the Moon Academy, Kristen. I am going to, she is linked in the comments, so if you want this, it's actually a printable deck that she offers on her Ko-Fi. I highly recommend it. I printed it out on color paper, and then I laminated it and cropped the edges so that I have like a nice little functional deck. And then I made this little cute tabletop box, so that way I can just pick at it. So since the board is purple and there's splashes of color, let's go with a yellow, right? Do the complementing. And is it possible? Ooh, is what possible? Well, I guess that's what tarot is going to bring, right? This deck is really fun, especially if you want to just play around and you don't have a question or you don't have something to mind, but you want to go to your cards and go to your tools. It's a really fun deck for just posing something and playing around and seeing what shows up, right? So, is it possible? Do one more shuffle, and then we will cut it. Excuse me. The Three of Swords. Is it possible? It's always possible to get angry. It's always possible to feel this, right? So is it possible that the grief that is surrounding whatever situation you're looking at, is it possible, you know, where is it coming from, right? So I feel like with this question, there's like more questions when you get a card like this. And this is a great example of being able to bring in the tiles, because it's going to show you, like, the first things that comes to mind is it possible that it's just all in your head? Or is it possible that it's coming from outside sources? Like, for me, when I see these together, it beckons you to ask more questions. It says, okay, well, is what possible? Yeah, it's possible to scribble it out on paper and tear it up and want to just throw it in a bucket and light it on fire, right? There's so much that's possible. So I'm going to use the nested tiles that I have, a nested tarot. The tiles are already in my shop. The cards will be in the shop in the fall. So if you've been enjoying these series and you really, you know, just want to see what comes up in my mind next, the best thing to do is go to my website and sign up for my newsletter, because you will be one of the first to know when things drop in the shop. And again, all those links are in the comment section or the description. It's still early. Words are still forming. forming. All right, so we have 8 of Pentacles. Put that there. The 9 of Cups. And this deck, the Nested Tarot, this is the 5 of Pentacles, was also completely hand-carved, the same way the Lenormand was from yesterday. All hand-carved. I was working on it. Oh, and there's that 3 of Swords again. I was working on it since probably November, and then I just, you know, felt compelled to stop really putting it in the spotlight after all the stuff with the war in Ukraine popped out. So I still love it, and that's why it is going to be in the shop, but I've chosen to just put forth my own funds to get it backed and not rely on anybody else, because I know there are people who want the deck, and I don't want to rely on others to bring it to life out of kind of like I don't want it to be in poor taste, you know, so I'm just saying that there. But I love the Nested Tarot. I love the idea that what we see on the outer surface isn't always what's going on inside. It's not what our layers are, right? So is it possible that with this 3 of Swords now, we see this and we see from one side, it's like all the work that we've done and perhaps this feeling of hardship, again, is it real? Is it in our minds, or is it reality, right? And then the 9 of Cups above the 3 of Swords can be talking about how this feeling is this gift, you know? So is it possible that what you're feeling is also going through this grief so that we can get to these better feeling thoughts, the better feeling feelings, you know? Like we have to go through the storm in order to breathe the sigh of relief, in order to be happy, in order to make our little wishes come true, right? Especially, you know, with this style reading, if you've been with me through these videos before and you've seen however many times now that I've done this particular spread, you know, I like to use this as what's coming up, like the past position, and then this is like the future position, right? So the past is talking about all the hard work we've done, and then maybe you feel like it was for nothing, you know, like looking at that 5 of Pentacles, it's kind of like, but I worked so hard, I studied, I did this, I did that, like I really put myself into this project. I really put myself out there. I really did X, Y, Z. And then I feel like it was for nothing. Like there's nothing to gain for it. And then finding yourself in this 3 of Swords energy and you're asking all these questions. Like, is it possible that the work wasn't for nothing? Is it possible that maybe it really isn't as hard as you think it is? Maybe it is. Okay, so then going forward, is it possible that the 3 of Swords is bringing us to a state of realization, a state of changing that grief into the aha moment, right? And this is where I'm going to bring in the Hexagonal Lenormand. I think I'm saying that right. It could be hexagonal, however you want to say it. I'm not gonna tell you how to say it. You don't tell me how to say it. I just love the shape of these. I can't wait to show you tomorrow all the different ways that you can use it. So we have 20, which is garden. So these are based off of the mandala tokens that I have. They're the images, but I put them in full color. And so there's no keyword on it, but it does come with something. It will come with a little printout. And so 20 is the garden. So the fountain there, and then you got the flowers blooming around. So there is the image of what it is around it, but just in case it looks a little hard to read, there is a cheat sheet that's going to come with it. So we have the garden, and then in the future position, we got that stork again. We had that yesterday. It's the center card, and we talked a lot about how that's a promotion. So see how the storks are radiating out of the number. And then on the bottom, we'll have our 3 tiles. And so we have 29, which is one of the signifiers. And each signifier, 29 traditionally is ladies. So you can see the outer hair is more of a longer hair, but the inner silhouette is more of a short haircut. So you can choose it to be whoever you want. So I'm going to put that there. And then the signifier 29 is reverse. Then we have 36. There's that cross again. And I like to do it like that. So the backdrop with the hexagons, and then we have the coffin. So there's a lot going on, right? I feel like this is a continuation of the reading I did for patrons yesterday. So if we pull these all together, we can see how they go together like this. I guess this would go like that. There we go. I just like the way the shapes just really want to, you know, how they connect with each other. This is what I mean about getting playful in the practice. And this is how, you know, if you're watching this, you're like, okay, but get back to the reading. But the purpose of these demonstrations is also to show you how to get, you know, how to play and where my mind goes when it starts to shift through the patterns. Because sometimes when you're using your hands, it establishes that mind-body connection to the cards, right? So as I'm sitting here going, I'm like, okay, I'm touching the tiles and seeing how they connect in here and going, okay, well, the community, we're seeing the things that we work so hard in, you know, but there's still some hardship going on, like especially in our community and the meeting places that we go to. And what's bringing us together is the fact that right now there's so much going on in the world and we have to get to work, right? Is it possible that we need to look into the community for more help? Or is it possible the community brought us here? You know, like going to these gathering places, evaluating what we've been seeing, doing the things, you know, and now we're in this state of total frustration, right? Is it possible we need to turn off the internet? We talked about that the other day, you know. So going forward, we've got this stork that's literally telling us to move past it, to move on, to migrate, to level up, to promote, you know, and how by using the grief and the anger and the sadness to find a new place of possibility, right? That the Nine of Cups is the wish card. So is it possible? The Nine of Cups is saying, yeah, it's possible. Okay. So then when we get these Lenormand tiles together down here, you know, we have our Hex Lenny, as I've been shortening things because I love to shorten anything. It's talking about, I see this as a direct thing about the burdens that have to end, right? The coffin, I feel like when the coffin shows up with the cross, it's talking... I'm not going to get political today. I swear I'm not. But we have the traditional woman signifier with the cross and with the coffin. And, you know, a lot of the stuff right now that's being forced upon women is because of religious undertones and it needs to end, you know. So the cross is not always religion. The cross is usually trials and burdens and just, you know, it can be faith. But I see it as trials, the trials and tribulations that we go through in life, you know, and the coffin comes in and says, we need to put a stop to it. You know, it's an ending. We need to close the book on that. We need to close that chapter. So when I see these together, I'm seeing in order to be able to migrate, we need to end this. We need to stop this. We need to stop the burden on women, right? And so this is another way of saying, okay, well, we've got this up here, right? And is it possible? And then you go, all right, well, now we're going to bring these down into these shapes and see how we can pull these like that. And then we're going to bring these to get this, you know, you can do like a 5-card chain here and saying, okay, well, there's a lot going on in the community, in our gathering spaces. We're getting together, you know, women of the world are uniting because of this burden that has been put upon us that needs to end in order for us to move forward, in order for us to move forward as a society. And until we can do that, we're going to keep finding ourselves in this state of perpetual frustration, this grief, this anger. So how do we, you know, how do we combat that? How do we, like, what is the solution? Especially when I feel like we're leaving on a negative note, I go, okay, well, what is the solution, right? Like, how can we move past this when we feel like things are just kind of lost, you know? Where's it going? You know, I'm looking for, I don't know where it is. There it is. Okay. I have my points to ponder dice in here. So I'm going to leave these. This is like for the 4 corners. I like to do this sometimes, especially when we're leaving on a note that's like, okay, well, yeah, it's just a reflection of what's going on in the world. And sure, when we're angry, we do think about the possibilities in life, but we're still so much in this anger and this betrayal, right? And we're saying, yeah, things have to end so we can move forward, but how, right? So that's where I bring in the dice. And we will have these back in the shop soon. Okay. So we have when, hydrate, shout, and buy. Okay. So with those, I usually just look at it and say, okay, here's a summation of the reading. We've gotten to this point. We see that it's a reflection of what's going on. It could be, if you're involved in world issues, it could be that. It could be just something that keeps coming up in your life that you're just so frustrated over. You're ready for it to end and move away from it. But how do you close a chapter on it, right? So when, yeah, you want to know, name names, when, dates, give me dates. Know that it's going to happen when it needs to. I know that's like very broad, but think about the when and maybe use that as a goalpost, right? Hydrate. Remember, when you're feeling like this, the best way to get back into yourself is to go grab a glass of water and really allow it to fill all the cells in your body and hydrate your body, because your cells could be like in a panic mode and it's causing a lot going on in a physical sense. So when you hydrate, it actually waters you like a plant, you know, like you need that. And then hydrate yourself with what you're consuming. Like if you're feeling too much because you're constantly doom scrolling, look at the hydration as a different method. Like do something else, nourish yourself in a different way, turn off the screens, go read a book, go outside. Go in the water. Like it's beautiful. If it's summer out and it's warm and you have a pool or access to a body of water, go in it. Shout it out. When you get like this, use your words. Be angry, be out. You will feel better. And buy, when you feel like this, you know what? Go treat yourself. Buy something new. Get yourself something that you've been wanting. Treat yourself, because if the world is so gloomy right now, or if things are happening, it's okay to do something that makes you feel a little better, even if it's just getting that chocolate bar, you know? So that's one way to use this board. Again, like if you don't have any of the tiles, but you decide to bring the Lenny in, you could just do little spreads like this, like that the placements are around it and the way that they connect gives you different lines of reading. You know, you could go like this. Like there's just so many ways to get creative and playful with these backdrops and these boards. And it's all about inspiring messages through creative play and creative divination. So that is today's video. I will be back tomorrow with the last one in this series. I'm still going to do some videos in July, but it won't be every day. But I'm really excited to do a demonstration with just the Lenormand, the Hex Lenny, and the Hive Tableau. So I will see you here tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.